Conscript is Jordan Mochi's debut game as a solo dev, and yet it also feels like his magnum opus. Epic in its ambition, both as a survival horror game and as a piece of storytelling, this game has already earned its place amongst those whose very name is a symbol of the recent renaissance of my favourite gaming genre. It does almost everything right, and in a wholly unique way. Let's start with the setting and story. Other games, including other survival horror games, have been set in World War I before Conscript. But the choice to make the setting itself the horror, rather than to insert a monster, whether as a real supernatural force or as a metaphor for something more grounded, is the thing that sets it apart. The game throws us into the thick of it as a French soldier called André, who in 1916 is caught up in the Battle of Verdun while searching for his brother Pierre and trying to keep him safe. The survival horror gameplay loop of limited resources, inventory management, and fight or flight decisions through a maze-like map is perfectly suited to the trenches of Verdun, and that claustrophobia of navigating tight spaces and finding your way past obstacles while dealing with very little ammo, deliberately clunky gunplay, and relentless enemies will definitely immerse you in the moment. But it's not just the moment-to-moment gameplay that captures war's brutal futility. It's the fact that those you kill don't always die, and instead of a corpse, you're left with a wounded man writhing in agony on the ground. It's the other soldiers, ally and enemy, who you'll find standing in a corner, clutching their head and completely insensible with shell shock. It's the rats that spread and feast as the corpses pile up. And it's the myriad of tiny details and environmental storytelling that builds up the misery of the trenches. But as the horrors pile up, there are chances to assert your humanity by providing other soldiers with an item they may need, from a spare cigarette to medical supplies, and being rewarded for that with in-game items. Like the poetry of Wilfred Owen, Conscript cries out against the glory of war, from the point of view of someone forced to participate. It holds up a mirror to the worst of humanity and dares you not to look away. And in doing so, with minimal cutscenes, usually of a few sequential still images and text-based dialogue, it tells an incredibly powerful, simple story that'll take you from the trenches to the war-torn countryside, back across no man's land, through a destroyed town and into the heart of enemy territory, whilst framing some fantastic survival horror gameplay. In that, the inspirations of Resident Evil in particular are clear. Throughout the game, you have a limited inventory, starting with 8 item slots, growing to a maximum of 16 if you replace your pack as the opportunity arises, that you must manage whilst trying to juggle weapons, ammo, key or puzzle items, health items, and over time other equipment such as a torch and a gas mask. As you might expect, item boxes allow you to store excess inventory and access it as needed, though the boxes are spaced out enough that you will need to backtrack if you forget something or don't leave enough space to pick up new items. And this balance can be tough, depending on what obstacles are in your way. The enemies are, of course, human, but that doesn't mean that they're easy to deal with. To fight, you will have access to melee weapons and guns. Both do more damage if you take the time to either wind up your attack or steady your aim, but that allows the enemies time to get closer, or to fire a shot of their own. So you'll have to take your shot as fast as you can, then immediately get out of harm's way before your second attack. If you have a rifle or a shotgun, you have to manually release the previous round before firing the next. That and reloading both plant you firmly in place, as does aiming, so doing it at the wrong moment can lead to damage. And if you're dealing with multiple enemies, managing the space around you can get tough fast, especially as they vary in their speed, the damage they do, and the damage that they can take before going down. This leads to interesting strategic choices not only in whether to fight or flee, but also in how you fight. As you accumulate different guns, the question of when you will use those with less ammo but higher damage becomes crucial. This makes looting as you go really important, not only for bullets, but also for craftable materials such as gunpowder to make bullets and cloth to make bandages. Alcohol can be combined with bandages to make sterilized bandages that restore more health, or with individual cloth rags to make a firebomb. Likewise, chemical fluid can sterilize bandages or make gunpowder into bullets, and gunpowder of the same type can be combined to make ammo for more powerful guns. All of which gives you lots of choices in what to use, what to save, and how to use it. In addition, you also have a merchant. Cigarettes collected through the world are your currency to buy items, and ornamental items can be traded for cigarettes, as can guns if you decide to sell weaker models after finding or buying more powerful ones. Whilst gun parts found in the world can upgrade your weapons to make them fire or reload faster or do more damage. None of these things will get you to a point where you're easily mowing down the enemy. This is not at any point a power fantasy, and the threat you face scales over the course of the game in a way that will leave you continually fighting for your life, just hanging on by a thread, and perhaps even dying and realising how long it's been since you saved. The point is that the systems are surprisingly deep once you get into them, and they're all balanced in a way that complements the core gameplay loop. But the decisions around combat don't end there, because once you get a lighter, you will also find fuel, and you can use that to burn the bodies you kill. Because if you don't, rats will come to feast on them, and they present as fierce a threat as the human enemies, especially in numbers. One solid shovel swing will kill one, or if there are 6, then the chances of taking them all on unscathed lessen considerably, and as they bite, they have a chance to poison you. If you get poisoned or infected, your health doesn't constantly decrease like other games. Instead, you get a reduced health bar until you deal with the infection through a full heal. You can upgrade your health with morphine to the point where your reduced health bar is still greater than your starting health bar, but only after a long while, and having less room to take damage certainly does spice up encounters. The other side of the survival horror equation, puzzles, aren't sidelined for the combat either. This being a game set in World War I, there is a lot of combat, with each chapter ending with a tense standoff as you're called to fight on the front and deal with intense waves of enemies. But the ultimate goal of each chapter involves finding a way past an obstacle, with other obstacles in the way of the solution. The puzzles range from finding a tool that you need to get past barriers, to navigating the environment to find new ways around something that seems impassable, to solving combination locks using environmental clues and piecing together key items. There's nothing as intricate on its own as the Resident Evil 3 water puzzle or the Silent Hill piano puzzle, but extremely well thought out level design wherein everything is ultimately interconnected despite the barriers can lead to you staring at the map or wandering in circles for a little while wondering what you've missed before you finally have that aha moment where you know where you need to go. Not to mention that there are optional puzzles which you can skip, but that will reward you with extra loot if you engage with them. That all of this works effectively throughout the entire game is a testament to Jordan Mochi's design skills too, because this game is huge. As the chapters go on, you will open up a massive, intricate and sprawling map system across a variety of settings. That they all not only work with the survival horror design ethos, but also look fantastic in their isometric pixel art style, selling the bleak, death-ridden world we find ourselves in across a diversity of authentic feeling locations, is a huge testament to what solo devs can achieve. Not only that, but there are multiple difficulty options as well. 2 below the intended difficulty experience, and 1 above. Even on soldier difficulty, this is a challenging game, which you can make more challenging by not turning on checkpoints or unlimited saves. In my 15-hour playthrough, I didn't need unlimited saves, but after getting 3 hours into one run, and deciding to start over as I was in a bad position, I thought that checkpoints might be wise. It's always refreshing to see a game that holds fast to its creative vision. Conscript does that both in terms of the story it's determined to tell and the survival horror gameplay challenge. Yet there are also options such as these which add accessibility to the game. You can also turn off bright flashes and screen shake, tone down the gore, choose to hold or toggle, and remap the controls, which is welcome. Literally the only things I can fault the game for were 2 bugs I experienced. One where not picking up a key item because I had no space, and coming back after discarding something else, meant I couldn't pick it up at all and had to reload. The other where specific audio cues, namely the sound made when you get hit, repeated on loop to the point that I had to quit out and restart the game. Beyond that, Conscript is an utterly fantastic, harrowing survival horror game. Hugely ambitious in the story it aims to tell, and the scale on which you play, it absolutely delivers. It's worth your time, and is shaping up to be one of the best things released this year. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like and consider subscribing to keep up to date with all my content. Like the video that just popped up, which YouTube thinks you should watch next. This is a Patreon and member supported channel, so if you want to become a member and unlock custom badges and emojis, early access to my videos, and your name in the credits, then click the join button below. Thanks very much for watching, and see you next time.